You talked about like the environment and the climate and extinction and these kind of things. Do you think we're headed that way? Do you think, like, would you describe this as the beginning of an extinction event?
Well, if you look at extinction rates, and I should add that we're only having an incomplete picture of just how bad things are, because we don't even know what's out there to begin with, if you see what I mean, right? There are
Yeah.
many parts of our planet where we don't really understand how many plants and insects and, you name it, are
Yeah.
actually present. Um, and we are certainly losing a lot of, you know, beauty for sure, but also things that are maybe of great relevance to medical research, or I mean, if you look at the world of animals and plants, there's just so many things we can learn that are of direct relevance to our own health and biology. But also we're removing key parts of food webs and ecosystems. And I mentioned sharks early on. That's a good example. Shark populations in some parts of the world and for some species have plummeted by over 95%. There's no way that this is healthy or good or even reversible. And, the long-term consequences, and we know that every time we kind of try to tweak things in nature, it ends pretty badly. So we know that the long-term consequences are certainly not going to be good or positive. Of course, one thing we often forget is that at the end of the day, this mass extinction, and I think a very good case can be made that, yes, it is a mass extinction. We're in the middle of it. The extinction rates are very high. So by that definition, we certainly are in a mass extinction, is going to harm us. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. We are very, very dependent on our oceans, our forests. And I think planet Earth is going to recover just fine. Our planet has recovered from all sorts of events that, things that happen on a scale that we cannot even begin to imagine. You can think of, meteorite impacts, volcanism on a scale that we cannot even begin to imagine, and so on.
Yeah.
But when our planet recovers, chances are we're not going to be around anymore, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that we have the power to completely end life on planet Earth, but we certainly have the power to damage our ecosystems so much that it becomes impossible for many, many organisms, including humans, to survive here. And when it comes to that problem, I think humans really have a big weakness there. And it's interesting, this is, we have real difficulty understanding the consequences and the scale of some of our actions, right? And we're not very good at forward thinking and planning, which is really surprising, right? I mean, we are intelligent, but we're really not very good. And that's because sometimes we don't really understand time scales in the same way that we don't really understand what 100 million years ago means, right? We're not very good at understanding statistics. And so humans are just not very well equipped to understand, some of the consequences of what they're doing. So yes, it's a fairly bleak outlook, but I think there's maybe a little glimmer of hope. And that is simply that I think some people, hopefully, fingers crossed, especially young people, are more aware of these problems and of these issues, are more prepared to do something about it. And I think we've also come to realize that we do not really dominate our planet in the way we think we are. We are quite vulnerable. And of course, the pandemic right now shows us just how vulnerable we are. A tiny little virus has essentially, almost destroyed major economies and has really shown us some of our limits. And so I think we're starting to understand that we are more vulnerable. We're starting to talk about big problems, including just the sheer number of people in the world and what that means for our planet. So I think, it's a race between, or an arms race between destructive forces in human society and forces for a better balance. And that can be things like developing better, more efficient ways to use energy and resources, and humans can make huge leaps in those fields sometimes. So I don't want to be 100% pessimistic. And of course, we can consider ourselves lucky that we still live on planet Earth, you and I, at a time where we can still go and enjoy, elephants and rhinos and sharks and rainforests. But as I said, I think we have to be aware of the damage we're causing and the scale of this damage.
Thanks for watching that clip. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and check out the full episode. All links are in the description. Be nice, be happy, be cool.